Fitin10 Nation, it is day 17. You know what that means? It means we're basically a quarter way through the challenge. Quarter. Can you believe that? 1 quarter through the challenge already? How's that possible? I'm telling you, it goes by fast. If you don't already know, now you know. And if you still don't know, well, you will eventually know, okay? Because it goes by super fast. All right, I'm not going to do food of the day today because I've got a lot of questions, which is really good. So I'm going to go through these, and I got a lot to say on some of these topics, so I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. But knowing me, I will not be that concise. All right, well, let's give it a shot. Okay, so somebody wrote me a note in the form, and they said this. They said, it's eye-opening how many calories I must have consumed on previous trips to France. So this is super important. This is the reason why I have you guys do this accounting in your food app, because, well, exactly this reason. You now are much more open to being like, holy crap, like, I can't believe, I used to eat this, or maybe you're still gonna eat it, but it's got this amount of energy, it's got this amount of carbohydrates, or this amount of fat, or this amount of calories. All right. Generally speaking, when food is high in calories, it's not like that high in protein. At least not on a percentage basis of the total calories of whatever the food is that you're eating. Right. It's usually just very high in carbohydrates and fat. Definitely carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are super easy to eat. And generally speaking, too, these foods are, they are designed to be, highly palatable. They're designed to have the perfect texture, and essentially they're designed to be addictive, right? So, anyways, not all foods, of course, not all processed foods, but a lot of processed foods. Okay, so that's all I want to say on that. Okay, classes, upper or lower body workouts. Somebody wrote me and said that all last week I think they did upper body based on the classes they came to. Now, by the way, this person's coming to our regular classes. So for those of you who are doing our regular classes, every week will be the opposite. So so this is not for Fitin10 classes, by the way. This is just for if you're doing the regular classes. A Monday class this week is going to be upper body. A Monday class next week will be lower body. Okay? So FYI on that. For those of you doing Fitin10, I'm going to swap the classes around tonight. So it's another leg day today. So just be aware of that. Well, you might just find out too late, but whatever. When you come to class, you won't die. Okay, you'll be okay. And so we're gonna do this every 2 weeks. Okay, we're gonna do the swapping of the classes because some people can only come to certain classes. So if we keep the classes the way they are, then obviously, there might be some of you who are always doing whatever, 2 of one week and then 1 of the other. So we want to make sure we switch that up. Okay, juicing vegetables. Somebody asked about juicing vegetables. What do I think about it? Juicing vegetables, I don't really have an issue with, but you want to make sure you get the fiber, and I don't know how you're juicing your vegetables, but if you're using something that is chewing through vegetables or whipping or spinning vegetables really fast, then that can create heat, that can destroy some of the nutrients in the vegetables. So you want to be aware of that. Like generally speaking, to my knowledge, if you're juicing, you want to use something that's going to be grinding vegetables, not not like a blender type juicer. Okay, not like a blade based juicer. Yeah, and just be careful with whatever vegetables you have, because if you're having like tomatoes and carrots and stuff like that, they're not high in carbs, but they're not low in carbs either, and they're they've got a high sugar amount. So like I said, you guys, I'm always going to try to remind you that when you eat, try to get some fat and protein and carbs at the same time. Okay, don't just have, like, for example, if you juice vegetables, and then you just had that as just in the day, you're going to get a bit of a sugar spike, okay, most likely, unless you're like just juicing like cruciferous vegetables or something, okay? So keep that in mind. I still think that, you know, because generally speaking, when you're juicing, well, you know what, I am not a juicing expert. I've never juiced, so probably the wrong person to be talking about this. But, you know, if there is anything that is being disposed of from the juice, like, you know, like the pulp or whatever, you know, there's going to be some nutrition in that. So you want to, you know, and I'm sure there's going to be, you know, fiber in that. So, you know, just consider that when you're juicing. Okay, that could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me what kind of juicer you have. For the person that wrote me this. All right, how am I doing for time here? 6 minutes. Man, I'm gonna like. Should I go on to this question? Okay, let me at least do part of this question. So, I think you guys know when I'm talking in class about, or maybe some of you know, or maybe you don't, compound movement versus isolation movement. So essentially, compound movement is when you're doing a movement and there's movement happening at more than one joint. Okay, like, so for example, yesterday when I was talking about, you know, somebody using a 10-pound weight for the overhead tricep extension, that tricep extension is just movement at one joint, right? So that would be an isolation movement. You know, a bench press or an overhead press, you know, a squat, a deadlift, these types of things, there's movement happening at more than one joint. So, you know, those are compound movements. Okay, so that's essentially, without going into any more detail, that's the definition essentially. Okay. Now, when you're doing a compound movement, you're getting, you know, multiple muscle groups working at the same time, right? If you think about it, there's multiple joints moving, then clearly that means there's multiple muscle groups working at the same time. But, you know, there is the odd exception where there's movement at one joint and there's multiple muscle groups being worked. So there are exceptions to that. Okay. But every compound movement's working multiple muscle groups. Almost every uni-jointed movement is just working one muscle group. Okay, now they want to know a question about superset versus drop set. I'll talk about that in the next video, because we are at almost 8 minutes, and I'm going to get to the message of the day, and it goes like this. Behind every successful person, there are a lot of unsuccessful years. Behind every successful person, there are a lot of unsuccessful years. Now, you know what? I'm just gonna. So there's truth in this statement. Obviously, I fully believe that, but I really hate. I hate this like this delineation of like this. I hate categorization. I am so against categorization. Well, I mean, we all use it to some degree or another, but you know. But for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of this statement, it is true. Like, in order, you know, essentially the way I like to put this is, the more you try something, the better you're going to get. Okay, that would be a better way for me to put it, because, you know, it always feels like there's this like delineation of like, you're unsuccessful, no, you're successful, and it's not the way it works. You know, it's a gradient, you know, and it's a gradient that hopefully gets better as time goes on. I think everything's like that, right? Yeah, it's just like, and I already know I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I'm just going to say it. Yeah, it's like, you know, good people, bad people. It's like, I don't really believe there's good or bad people. I think there's people, they make good or bad choices, you know. So, you know, I'm a firm believer that if you want to change your ways, you can change your ways. I don't think anybody's stuck, okay? Unless they're like mentally ill or something. They have no, you know, control over their voluntary actions, right? But, yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna go off a tangent. So, anyways, point here is keep working. You cannot get discouraged. You cannot get the people that are successful are the people that are successful. The people that continue to do better and strive ahead. They're only doing that because they are, you know, trying and they keep going. All right. So, you know, believe me, if you ever look at somebody and you think, holy shit, and I have to remind myself of this all the time, like, how that person ever achieved that. It's like, I know, they went through a lot of unsuccessful years. There's a guy we used to go to this thing called Mastermind down the States, and the guy who put it on is, how am I doing for time? Okay, really, really quick on this. This guy spent like 20 years like working on what is now an empire. He has like over 900 franchise gyms around the world, and but he went through 20 years of like multiple bankruptcies, and just a lot of hardship, like a ton of hardship, and grew up, in extreme poverty, etc., etc. So, but he kept trying and trying and trying and trying, and now he's, I think what we would deem as successful, right? Or definitely a lot more successful than what he had previously been. So, all right, that's all I'm going to say. 11 minutes, day 17, wrap up here. Hopefully I will see you tonight. I think we're both teaching. I will be teaching for sure. Martina is always welcome, of course. And we will be doing legs yet again, all right? So submit, commit, you guys. I'll talk to you all very soon. Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself and give some gratitude. I'll talk to you all very soon. See ya.